Hello, everybody. Good evening, everybody watching the show. We're a little late. We were trying to get some people squared away and back in the room, and you know how Hangouts has been. In fact, it's been such a crappy program that I haven't had James in the room for 2 weeks. Well, I haven't seen James in like 2 weeks because actually I haven't seen you in a long time, James, because your laptop sucked.
Yeah, hey, don't be blaming the laptop, alright? You know
Yeah,
what? I blame shitty Hangouts.
we can't. Well, and we can't blame OU Internet because OU's covered in internet.
Yeah. Oh, you can do
Uh,
no wrong.
exactly. All right, guys. So we're back after a little bit of a break. But let's get right into it. So today we're talking about the new and improved Stormtrack. This is the new home. Well, it's been the home for storm chasing since 1977, but this year we basically rolled out the new version of it. I say we. I didn't have anything to do with this. The guys in this room had all to do with this right here. So let's go ahead and get introduced here to some of the guys. Let's talk here. This is the owner of the site, Steve Miller. And there he is. That's the guy that's at the top. So just remember that. You got to keep him happy, right? So let's go down. Here's Mark Blue. Mark, it's good to have you here.
Hey guys.
Dan Robinson, of course. Dan was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he had a big part in creating what we got now. And we also have Ben Holcomb, who is kind of the technical guy, behind the scenes kind of guy.
Hola.
All right, so real quick, before we jump into the Stormtrack, I just want to say everybody needs to stop freaking out about the 2015 season being a repeat of the 13-14 season. I don't know if you guys know this, but the forum's been lighting up. People have been talking about how this season resembles the last 2 years and how it's going to be a crappy season, but we're barely first to March. There's no reason to panic, and I think you guys can agree. So. What do you think, Ben? What do you think? What do you think the 15 season's got in store for us?
Well, I'll be honest. I am a little bit concerned of moisture. The drought's looking a little bit worse here to our southwest. We've had some winter precip here in the past couple of weeks, so that's been good. But I don't know. I'm a little bit worried, and I am a little bit anxious to get out there.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm ready to go, but I can be patient for the right setup. Dan, do you think this season's gonna be better or worse than the last couple?
I have no clue. I'll start getting worried about June 12th if we haven't had anything.
Yeah, that's good philosophy. Mark, how about you? What do you think about the upcoming season? How's it gonna be?
Well, I've been pretty busy with the back end build out of Stormtrack, so the little I've thought about it is that the cold frontal intrusions need to stop or nothing good is going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, that's true. The cold front intrusions have been they were a problem in 2013 and last year with some late season intrusions, but you know how that goes. Steve, what about you? Your opinion?
Well, let's see here. There were 897 tornadoes reported in 2014. Average is 1,143. So we have to have a better season this year, right? I mean, just off numbers, off statistics alone. So
yeah, it's got to happen. I mean, there's no way, right? Let's not try to jinx the season now, but let's just go ahead and jinx the season now and say it's got to get better.
Yeah, this has been going on since I can remember. I've been chasing for 20 years, and every single year, March 1st time period or spring break time period, there's snow in Oklahoma. It's a given, and every year we somehow manage to have tornadoes and decent seasons. So I wouldn't worry about anything that's going on in the next 2 weeks because that's what everyone's looking at and freaking out about. It's ridiculous.
Well, I can say is I just hope we don't have a season like last year where everything was condensed into about 3 days.
Yeah, in June, no less.
Yeah.
It's funny because you think about past season recently. 2013 didn't get active until around April, mid-April, I guess. There was a few setups here and there, and that was kind of the start of the season. Well, then you go back to like 2010, which was an amazing season for the South Plains. I mean, the season didn't really start until the third week of April. So just because you have a slow March does not correlate to a bad season. It just means we're not getting out there soon enough. But hey, you know what? I don't know. Once it gets to late April and we don't have anything on the horizon, then I'm worried about the South Plains. It doesn't mean I'm worried about the North Plains, but
It kind of, especially these past 2 years, it's been, you're having cold air making it all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, well past mid-April, and that's something you just hate to see, and it tends to ruin what could otherwise be a great, kind of early to mid-season going into April. But honestly, if this ridge breaks down sometime in the next 2 weeks, I'm not worried, but we'll just have to see what happens.
yeah, we'll see what's on the horizon. It's pretty safe to say that the next 2 weeks in March are probably going to be really slow and dead, and that's fine. We have the other 2 weeks to worry about after that. We'll talk about predictions at the end of the show, though. We'll get everyone's numbers and accurate predictions and put them in our database. But let's jump into Stormtrack because this is a big thing, guys. This is the website. This is it. This is where Storm Chasers have been going for a lot of their information, a lot of showcasing of their chases and past experiences, as well as forecast discussion. I mean, this is where it's been for a long time, and until the point of Facebook, it's really been the only place. So. And right here, I mean, you guys have worked tirelessly for the last couple months, getting this transition going. And, here we are, a good week into the website, and I think things are great. I think the website looks amazing. The features that are on this website I could never think about this actually happening. If a year ago, if you go back a year and you said, hey, Stormtrack next year is going to look like this, I'd be like, there's no way. There's not a way in hell that's going to happen. But sure enough, here it is. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about a few things on this website. And I personally believe the most important part of this website is the weather library, which Dan's worked very hard to do. But Dan, tell us about the weather library. Tell us how people can contribute to the weather library, and what you hope the weather library will become.
Well, a lot of the inspiration from this comes from just looking at the old Stormtrack magazines. When we first started this project, I got a bunch of the PDF files of the old Stormtrack magazine, and I just got immersed in reading those and seeing the wealth of information that was there, and just hoping that we could somehow bring a little bit of that spirit of of the old Stormtrack, where everybody was sharing information and trying to help each other learn, and I was hoping that we can duplicate that even just a little bit, and Stormtrack, this go-to information source that everybody references, so that we've all got our own websites that have a little bit of information here and there, and that's good, but I think it's great to centralize it into this place that everybody can go to and find things that they need and learn about how to chase, how to forecast, and even just go back and look at some of the past days. When somebody says Mulvane, somebody who's never chased before, I'm hoping they can go back and read about what Mulvane was and what the setup was, and I just like to have everything centralized where Stormtrack, when you hear Stormtrack, you know that you're going to find some good information.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Stormtrack has been, is a big plethora of information, and not just the science behind it of storms and whatnot, but also past events. I think that was one thing that was really missing from the old site. It was very difficult to actually navigate your way back to the old days, and probably setups that were 6, 7, 8 years ago. It was kind of difficult to find those because there was a lot of stuff to wade through.
Yeah, the old target area had a lot of great information in it, but like you say, it was hard to find stuff. You'd have to scroll through and try to find the date that you were looking for. So we're not really trying to duplicate that, but we're trying to organize it into a nice, neat, packaged thing where you can go back and find a date and find all the chase reports and just make it easy to navigate.
Yeah, and while we talk about this, Steve's got the weather library, and yeah, Steve, go ahead and run down and show us what you can do, and how easy it is to find anything. And here, he's looking at Mulvane, and you got everything from the summary of the day to the links to the meteorological data and records. You have a chart.
Kind of organized into a nice package.
And
final two sports.
we got someone with an echo, probably Steve.
Sorry about that, guys. I must have brushed something. Sorry.
Well, one of the things I want to make sure everybody knows about the weather library is this isn't just a couple of us trying to do it. We need as many people as possible to get involved and populate this thing. And this is supposed to be kind of what we call the buzzword now is crowdsourced. It's kind of like a Wikipedia where everybody contributes and everybody can edit things, and we've got it set up like a wiki right now, to where if you want to help out, we can give you permissions to, as long as you promise not to go in there and just completely destroy the thing. We've got it so you can go in and edit. You can add whatever you want to a date. You can add a link to a date. You can add pictures, and we're making everything voluntary right now when it comes to pictures. So if you want to provide one of your pictures on one of these chase days as a header image or anything, we welcome the help on that. The more we have working on this thing, the better. I mean, ideally, it'd be nice to have every chase day all the way back to the beginning, all the way back to even the 50s, if we can get some of those older dates in there. So
right.
We've got a few things started, and we've got a good sampling of a couple of events per each year, but there's still a lot to do. So, if you like writing about chase events and researching this will be a perfect thing to get involved with.
Yeah, and another. Well, let's keep talking about this weather index, because this is kind of something that I think a lot of chasers really wanted, but never really got in the past, and that's basically one place that they can go back and just go through every year and find a day that they either really enjoy looking at or going back and seeing the pictures, or just curious about what that day did and what it looked like. I mean, this is it right here, guys. We're building it right here. We're getting it together, which is awesome. But yeah, so real quick, Dan, how can somebody that isn't a moderator or an admin on the site, how can they go in and actually help with this with the information collection, I guess?
Well, there's a couple different ways. I mean, if you don't want to become a full-fledged editor, I mean, to be an editor, you need to know a little bit about maintaining, Wikipedia kind of system in the background. The system is pretty easy to use. I mean, there's an editing program in here that you can go in and you click on. I'm actually on the wrong page. Okay, you click on Edit, and there's a little built-in editor here that you can. You have to be willing to learn a few new pieces of software to go in and edit and add pictures and things like that. But if you don't want to go through all that, you're welcome to post in a thread and say, hey, could we add this link? Or could you, here's a blurb of text that might be good to add. You can post in any of the threads that we have going right now for the weather library. And if you go to Stormtrack announcements, which is a subforum that these threads are in, you'll see the one thread I started here for the weather library. Feel free to post in anything in here, and we'll add it for you. If you don't want to become a full-fledged editor, we can just take content from a thread. Even the chase report thread, we'll try to keep up with adding chase report links and things like that to it.
Good. So, do you have any of the other guys have anything to add with the index page?
Yeah, I think this is really a good thing for anybody that's running a website to get involved with. The SEO, search engine optimization, on this is going to be very high. The fact that it's linking basically a lot of content related to anything that somebody could search for, and then it's linking out to a bunch of sites. The more your sites are in there, the better off you're going to be. So it is definitely in your best interest to go ahead and contribute.
Exactly. If you want to get some exposure to your website, that's going to be a very good and very simple way to do it. I know I've been spending a lot of time in that weather library, just going back on days that I chased too, and seeing everybody else's vantage point.
We'll get you set up, Marcus, so you have a little more privileges and can do everything under the sun in there.
Yeah, I would love to be an editor. I mean, I've only been chasing since 2010, but I can definitely put input from there. And yeah, just real quick to you guys. Like I said, I'm probably going to try to see if I can get to the Weather Service and get some information on the Panhandle days that have happened over the years. I'm sure I can do that pretty easily. So, you know, but we'll talk about that, you know, later on or after the show or something. So, all right, Dan. Well, that's awesome about the Weather Library. It's a very good tool that I hope everyone utilizes. I hope everyone actually goes and checks it out, and hopefully people actually contribute that have been there. Another feature on that area, the Weather Library, is the who's who of chasing, and I guess Dan, you've helped compile this list as well. Why don't you tell some people about that, the who's who of chasing, and what it's about?
Yeah, no, this is actually a feature of the old Stormtrack that's been around since the late 90s. And I don't think I had it ready to pull up here, but if you go to, I'll try to bring it up here while we're talking.
Well, Steve's got it. You can talk. Steve's has it on his screen.
Yeah, the old who's who of chasing was basically a directory of chasers, and I think the old one had upwards of maybe 200 chasers from all over the world, and it just had a little blurb about, you know, a little bio, link to the website, link to email they've been chasing, and we've expanded on that and made it much more interesting, we hope. One of the big features of this, and I have to give a shout out to Danny Neal, because he came up with all of the questions that you see in this thing. He came up with all of these questions, so you can go through it and read a lot of interesting perspectives on some of these things from everybody. It's just a good read. It's a good thing to sit down and go through, and you've got pictures, favorite chase videos. You've got links to everybody's website, everybody's social media accounts, and like Ben was saying, Stormtrack is actually huge when it comes to search engines. I mean, Stormtrack has what's called a page rank on Google equal to a lot of major newspaper websites out there. So it's a huge thing to have your link on here. So, and we're trying to get this thing, obviously, as many people as possible, many chasers as we can get on here. We have 61 right here on the site now, and we've subdivided it by region, or you can just list them all if you want to do that. But yeah, again, there's a thread on the forum that you can either send these to Danny or me.
Cool. So yeah, if you guys are chasers, have been around for a while, or you know you want to be on that list, definitely go through that thread. It's quite a big list, but the thing is, you don't have to answer every single question. But yeah, I mean, definitely check it out too. That's really cool because you kind of see where everyone's at and see where everyone comes from and just a little bit about them.
You know what's interesting about that list is that I'm not on it.
Well, what's up with that, Steve?
How'd this happen? I submitted my paperwork.
Oh, what's up with that, Dan?
I'm not the one who added them.
I think Danny Neal might still have your profile. I've got all the ones that I was sent. Looks like you're on the list, but you don't have a page.
Well, we'll blame Danny since he's not here.
Yeah, good idea.
It's always an okay thing to blame Danny. He's usually the cause of problems anyways.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, man, that's cool. I really like that. I have to get my page on there. I didn't have the time to really do anything with that, but then again, I don't want people to stalk me because I know that's a big problem in my neighborhood. I'm just kidding.
I thought you were the stalker.
Well, hey, come on. I mean, don't give away all my secrets now. All right, so the Weather Library, yeah, there's that, and then some other cool things about the Weather Library. There's a Stormtrack magazine archive. If you want to go back and look at some of the old issues of Stormtrack, it's there. And does that have every issue all the way back? Is that what that is?
Yes. In fact, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I was going to say this. I don't think people realize how significant this is. The old Stormtrack magazine is just absolute gold to go back and read. I mean, from the very first issue, you can see that a lot of the issues that we talk about now have been going on all the way back to the beginning. And to get the perspective from some of the people who were the first to be out there, it's just great reading. I mean, I could get lost in reading this stuff. What I've been doing lately, I've been driving back and forth to West Virginia on business trips the past few months, and just putting these on the. I have a text-to-speech program in my car that reads these back, and it's just been great. It's just great reading, and I think everybody is going to be educated and entertained endlessly. And there's just so many issues back there on this thing. I mean, here's just the 1980s. You can see how many are in there. This was put out every 2 months. So there are 6 issues per year, and it goes up until I think the last issue was in 2002. And the other thing that we've been trying to do with this is these are all in PDF format, which is good for reading, but we'd like to convert these to an HTML format that we can just put in. I'll show you what I went through and did the 1970s issues, and so we've made these into pages that are actually searchable in the forum. Because right now the PDFs, you can't search them from the forum search utility. So again, that's another thing that we just need some help with manpower to go back and pull the images out and make them kind of to the forum format. So the 1970s are all done, but again, we've got the 1980s and 1990s that anybody that wants to help out with that.
So it just sounds like you guys need some volunteers to help. You need the manpower to get some of these projects finished.
Yeah, there's no question about it, and I want to send a huge thank you to Tim Marshall for allowing us the rest of that catalog. Stormtrack, the previous version, had about half of the magazines available. And we reached out to Tim Marshall, and he went ahead and granted us access to the rest of them for publishing online for free, as well as some of the other short. I don't know if you call them a book or not, but like little short articles and whatnot about different topics that have to do with weather and chasing. So anyway, he released those to us, and that's a huge contribution to the content of this website.
Yes, of course, and of course Tim being one of the founding fathers of Stormtrack, if you will. So yeah, he's definitely a big contribution to this. So real quick, before we kind of get off the subject of the weather library, there was another area called the Severe Storm Resource Learning Center, Resource Library. Has different data links and for education. So any of you noobs that like to watch the show, if you want to learn some things, definitely go into that section and educate yourself, because I don't want to. Just kidding. So, but yeah, that's cool. What's the map room? I didn't even look at the map room. What is the map room?
The map room, that was something that Jason Boggs created for us, and he's got links in there. If you still do hand analysis, and I would encourage you to learn how to do it. I don't always do it myself, but it's a great skill to learn how to do. But you can go through here, and there's just links to surface maps. Like this one here is one that Roger Edwards put together. We just a link to his website. And Wesley gave us a bunch of PDF high-res maps that you can print off if you want to do. They're basically just general-purpose maps that you can print off and do whatever you want with them. do hand analysis, or even if you're trying to want to do a GPS overlay or something like that. But this resource library is just kind of a catch-all location to put all this information together, and it's definitely open-ended as far as the categories we have. So we've got links here, bookmarks to data links. This one here, I just got started with the links that I use. This just has links to College of DuPage radar, model data, HPC forecasts, and of course the SPC stuff. So again, that's something that if people want to go in and add to, we would welcome that help on that. So anything that you use on a regular basis would be great to add to that.
So basically, the weather library is essentially what it is. It's the weather library. So not only are we going to have past events archived, but also like all these links here for educational purposes, and also for just forecasting purposes. They should all be centralized in this one page, which is very good because we know there's a lot of information out there for chasing and weather in general, but you have to search for it sometimes. So that's a really good a page there, as well as the who's who of chasing. All that stuff is really awesome. Can't thank you guys enough for putting up with all the crap just to get to this point. But so that's the weather library. We also have a couple other great sections that people need to know about. Who wants to talk about the media section, because I think that's also something that's going to be really cool.
I will take media. Let me get it up here to where I can do a screen share here.
All right.
Guys, the media area for everybody listening is as important as the actual content within the forums. Well, if I could, there we go. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. I don't think that I didn't even realize how powerful this feature was until I was playing around with it at length, trying to get some work done. And here, let me get over here. Sorry, my screen may look a little bit different than you guys because of the staff options that I have. Anyway, most important thing to know about media is that, again, the SEO is huge. You're going to have potential to link to other photos, photo galleries, YouTube, whatever, but also you can link back to your website. And the word link back that I keep using is just extremely important for both of us, for Stormtrack and for you as a contributor to Stormtrack. So let's go through this real quick. Obviously, you can sort these photos I have this one sorted by highest rated. How about most liked, most viewed? To give you an idea of the power of social media with this gallery here, or with this media area, today on Chaser TV, I featured Gene Moore's Bennington, Kansas tornado. And you can see we have 211 views, a couple of comments, a thumbs up, and some star ratings. So whenever you guys do post something that you're proud of here, feel free to share from here, because obviously you can get a heck of a nice picture and you can link directly to it. As you can see up here in my bar, you will have your own unique URL. So we're not parsing a URL from that's not going to take you directly to the image. So anyway, anyone will be able to see the stuff in the media area. You don't have to be a member to see it. We are working right now on I think Ben will probably mention this here in a minute, but we're working on a way to put a little watermark over the images. It will not say Stormtrack or anything like that, but just not for redistribution or something simple and generic, so that we can guarantee that you'll have as much protection as possible. To add media, go up here. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, and this site, Zemforo, has a lot of little hidden spots that you need to know about. Anyway, go to where my arrow is, where it says Add Media, and then it's real simple. You're either going to choose a category, which is going to be tornadoes, hail, any of these here. You can even have some non-weather images there. You can go to an album and then create an album. So simple as that. Just go and upload your photos. All right, now one thing that we have done, and I want to keep this up, we've made it to where there's no quotas on upload. You have unlimited dimensions, file size, storage quota, items per upload. So long as we don't see anyone abusing this, then we're going to keep it that way. That way you can put up your sharpest images and your best work and be proud to see it displayed. Unlike Facebook, that really takes images and butchers them. Obviously, you can add media from. Let's just add this. You can add media directly from your hard drive. You can add it from a URL. Any of the majors, like PhotoBucket, Flickr. What's that popular photography one? Come on, guys, help me out.
Picasso. 500px.
SmugMug, yeah. And 500px are also in there. Make sure you add your title. Make sure you add your description. As soon as you save media, you'll be able to add a comment to it, and it's right up there, ready to go. So, tons of ways to sort photos. Tons of information about what's going on within the media galleries. Matt Phelps, he added 45 photos last night. Sean's got 19. So anyway, you can see where we are. I don't know that all these statistics are probably on your screen, but hopefully most of them are.
I believe they are. Yeah.
Anyway, that's the media area. Obviously, you can, from within your posts, you can link to your media to get them a little bit more. So whenever somebody does click on your image within a post, then they can go and comment on the image itself. That's really, that's all I have. But I just want to make sure that everyone understands that the media area is a big deal. You can create albums. You can, I don't know. You can get yourself out there again. SEO.
That's what it's all about, is getting traffic to you and getting yourself exposed too. Well, cool. Yeah, the media center, it's really awesome. At first I thought it was a little cluttered, but then I realized, I can sort it by albums or whatnot, and that's fine. So, yeah, I really like it. I like it a lot. I think it's going to come in real handy when we have those big days, and we're going to see a lot of great stuff coming through there. Photo contests. Okay, wait. You had anything else on the media?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that you can add model graphics and radar screen grabs. I don't think there's anything in these yet, but feel free to throw up your thoughts for the next day and maybe even past big days. Feel free to put up the model images and talk about them.
Now, can we link, like if we do that, if we put stuff from the models into an album, can we link that into the weather library for past events?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything's completely hot linkable throughout the website. That's a little bit more intensive. I'll probably have to put up a little educational piece in one of the threads for it.
All right. Well, cool. And also something else that kind of goes along with the pictures and media is the photo contest. So let's talk about that briefly. I know we have one going on right now for your best 2014 shot. So what's the importance of the photo contest?
I see photo contest as being a little bit more than just a whole year. Here, let me get over here. I'm actually not going to share my screen on this one, but I need to look at it for reference. Yeah, winner 2015 contest, your best shot from 2014. I'm hoping that this can be a little bit more refined to where we're actually saying best shot from May 18th and go from there. Ultimately, it would be nice to have some sponsors that would like to give away a gift card or a pat on the back or I don't know, something. But it would be really cool to see this grow into something. But the photo contests will, even after they close, they'll be available for people to see. They'll be able to see the winner. You do get bragging rights. You do get some points whenever people like your photo. You get points toward your reputation on the board, and that's photo contests.
Now that's one thing that I think we need to touch on that we kind of lost on the last slide is the whole liking feature.
Yeah.
That's something, I don't know if you want to talk about that too, Steve, the like and the agree feature and the dislike and how that's going to play a role in the content quality of the site.
The number one thing that we hear, every one of us hear about Facebook is, oh, we wish we had a dislike button. Well, now you have one, so use it. The idea behind reputation is to not only recognize the people who are providing the best content on the board, but honestly, it helps the staff. Whenever you have to think twice on whether you're going to post something silly or idiotic, ignorant, we've all seen those posts. Either they're the drunk late night post, or they're the want to get a point across to somebody. If you know that you're going to get 6 or 7 dislikes because you're being a jerk, then and it could affect your reputation, then you're more than likely not going to do it. And the same goes for likes. Likes accumulate, and they get you a little bit further onto the in the forum. They make you they change your rank among members. And so the idea is to bring out the best content that you possibly can and present it as well as you can, get lots of likes, and increase your reputation. So that's what that's all about. Let me look here real quick. Again, I'm not going to share my screen, but I wanted to mention the types of likes that give you points. And obviously, a dislike is a negative point. A thumbs, that would be a thumbs down. Thumbs up gives you a single point. And let's see, we have informative and agree. And if you agree, that's a neutral. And if it's informative, that is a +1 on the reputation scale. So thumbs up and informative are +1. Agree is a neutral, and then a thumbs down is a negative point. So I hope that makes sense to everybody.
Right, so watch what you post.
Behave. Just behave.
Yeah, use common sense. I think if you're going to post, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people didn't like was some people that came in and threw some conspiracy theories out, and there's just no room for that on this website, and now we can show our displeasure for posting stuff like that. So, well, that's good. I'm glad we had that. We had that on the old site, but all we had was the likes, and but that really didn't mean much back then. It just kind of showed that you made a good post. Good for you. It
definitely means something now. So we'll see how that comes together over the course of about a year or so, whenever these things start adding up. And I want to note, a lot of people have come to the new forum and been a little ticked off about the fact that they are noobs. All you have to do is either post, I think, 5 messages or get 5 likes, and then you're upgraded to member status. And simple as that. Just don't be a noob. Get in there and post and participate.
Yeah, that's why I got veteran noob under my name, because that's me right there. All right, well, so we've got the web library, we got the photo contest, and the media. Now let's jump over to the chat room, which is where everybody knows that's where it's at, is the chat room. Do Steve or Ben or somebody want to talk about that?
I'm actually chatting right now.
Yeah, we're going to keep the chat the way we have it for now. We've talked about maybe going to like a peer-to-peer chat, but right now it seems to be working pretty well. I haven't seen too many complaints. Just getting people to use their real names, but that really hasn't been too much of a problem. It's an easy chat program. It works with just about any browser.
Yeah, and just forewarning anybody, we don't have any more censorship in the chat room, so we can totally just say whatever we want. And I'm
You're welcome.
well, I'm so glad about that because I was complaining about that from day one. I was like, you got to be kidding me, but
Well, whenever we first started it, we had the chat room on the main page, and we thought this would be something that people will stop by. People who aren't members of the site will stop by and kind of get a little bit of interest in it. They wouldn't be able to post in the chat room, but they'd be able to see what's going on, especially during events, because the chat really is a great tool during severe weather and the night before severe weather. So that was the idea, and then I went in and changed a bunch of the words to funny words, and that kind of backfired. And so after a few posts, I figured, it can't hurt. Now, the words start showing up in the content of the forum, and I'll have to shut it down. But right now, I don't see that happening.
there you go. So if you just have to just throw cuss words out, just click on the Chaser chat, throw them out there, then go back to the forum. It makes sense to not put it in the actual forum because that seems to be the place where we try to stay professional at least. And the Chaser chat is just kind of here we all are just talking to each other, nothing professional in here. So, yeah, that's awesome. That's a great thing. I like that. And yeah, we were having some fun with the word replacements the other night. So we'll see how that turns out. But so far so good. I'm usually in chat every day, so it hasn't become a problem, and there really hasn't been any problems in there. Too much problems, I should say, but.
Well, one thing you do need to remember is that the chat is visible to anybody visiting the site still.
Yeah.
It's not on the main page, but it is visible. So, I'd watch at least somewhat of what you say in there.
Yeah, don't go on and put 25 consecutive cuss words, in a row, because that's as much as the chat will hold. Because yeah, that'll look kind of bad. But you know what? It's always a good time in there. I think once we get a lot of people in there. Like right now, there's 20 people in chat, and I'm sure a lot of them are watching, and they're probably having a great time.
Yeah, and I'd really like to see this go back to the old spotter chat days, where you could go in there at any time of day and talk about the weather. And I think we're getting there really quick, so that makes me happy. But spotter chat was the de facto, and now we're just basically trying to accomplish the same thing here.
Yeah. Well, I think we got all the sections covered for the most part. So let's talk about something real quick, and I guess let's talk about how we got to this point. I know there was probably a lot of confusion, especially to some of the guys that kind of left Stormtrack a few years ago, and now they're hearing about, oh, this is all happening, and this is what's going on, and now we're here. Whoever wants to talk about it, let's talk about how we went from the old site to the new site, what kind of went on, and the things that put it all in motion.
I'm one of the guys who left. I just stopped contributing after, probably about 2010 or 11, somewhere in there. Just, there wasn't clear leadership at the very top level. There were clearly staff moderators who were not able to do anything with the site itself, without the leadership being present or doing it for them by their request. And you could tell that it was in a stagnant mode. And whenever you have options like Facebook, Twitter, your own blog, your own website to put your content, to publish and share, versus a site that is technically, for all intents and purposes, stagnant. Why would you go ahead and put your information there, or talk about your target, or do a report at the end of the day? So anyway, I dropped off around 2010, and I'd check in once every couple months or something, but really, it was over for me. So if you guys want to talk about your personal experiences, I'd be interested. Ben or Mark, Dan.
Yeah, it was the same for me. Every time I'd come to the forum there really wasn't a lot going on, and usually it felt like there wasn't any leadership at all. And I kind of fell off. In fact, I remember the last time I had really gone through the forum was in 2012 when I was in Dubai. I had nothing better to do. It was the middle of the night over here, and um, I just really didn't find it very interesting, and it was kind of sad to see Stormtrack go that way, and really I kind of thought it was dead, but it was good to see Steve take over as owner, or even if it wasn't Steve, if it had been somebody else, it was just good to see a new owner basically take over, and I have some pretty high expectations for where this is going to go. I expect forums really aren't dead. They've changed a bit with social media, but there's still quite active forums out there, and from here to there you're going to lose members from time to time, and you'll gain members, and things will evolve, but overall there's still a pretty viable medium in my opinion, and I'd like to see this come back as basically the source for chasing.
Yeah, and I think Dan and I were kind of in the same boat, but we kind of stuck around that whole time, and we try to keep the old site active. I joined back in '09. It was really quite a busy place from '09 when I was there from '09 to I guess 2000, late 2010 or 11. I don't remember when a lot of people left, but there was quite an exodus that a lot of members did leave at one point, and there was only a few of us there, probably a dozen or so. We're still trying to pump, content into the site, but it was just becoming more and more obvious that either something needed to change or the site was done for forever. And that's kind of where I was really glad to see that we finally made some headway, late last year, trying to get the site over to Steve and make some changes and pump life back into the site, which I'm glad it has. I mean, it's been pretty happening here lately. So, but I think Dan was kind of in that same position, weren't you, Dan?
Yeah, I've been a little disillusioned by the way there really hasn't been as much of a storm chasing community in recent years as a result of social media. Everybody's just kind of fragmented out into their own little cliques and groups, and all the great forecast discussions, some of those are happening on Facebook, but if you're not friends with that person who is having that discussion, you miss it all. And I really was really hoping that we could get away from that kind of thing and get back to where we're a community, so to speak. And I know that we're all different and we all have our own quirks and our own ways of doing things, but Stormtrack has always been that central community from day one, back in 1977 when it started. David Hoadley started this thing to make it a central community where there's some place we could all go to share our stories and techniques and just be a part of something. And I was just kind of hoping we can get back to that. That's kind of the vision I saw, especially going back and reading the old magazine and seeing how it was and how everybody was so enthusiastic about getting together just because they're chasers. We all have different backgrounds. We're all chasing. What brings us together in that sense?
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. Just everyone split off into their little groups on Facebook, and yeah, that felt like that was kind of the end. I think a lot of people did blame Facebook for that, but it really wasn't Facebook's fault. It was just a new tool that came up for chasers, and in general, most chasers are not not social people. They kind of like to stick to their own little corner, and that's what Facebook did a really good job of doing. But hopefully that's it. Hopefully from now on we can sort of weed out some of those people and bring them back into the community and make it a community again instead of all these different little cliques and groups. So.
Well, I think one of the other major issues was the fact that the forum would just be down for sometimes days or even weeks at a time, Nobody could get a hold of Tim, and it would just sit there, completely not working for multiple days on a time. And I remember at some point, probably in late 2013 or early 2014, it had been down for quite a while, and I actually started seeing rumblings on social media about, is this the end of Stormtrack? Is it going to be gone for good? The cool thing is with the new owner, we've been able to move to a little bit better of a hosting solution. Steve's got this on a pretty good server. It's got SSDs and a RAID 10, which if you're not technical, you probably don't know what that is, but it's nice and fast. And I believe we have failover for 3 separate facilities. Obviously, I don't know exactly how well that's going to work yet, but I imagine it'll probably work a lot better than being down for a week like last time. So, I'm looking forward to, at least knowing that that's always going to be there and be able to take the load if we have some bigger outbreak days. Days like Moore or El Reno, where the site's going to be getting a lot of traffic, and I think it should be able to handle it without a problem.
Yeah, that's a very good point. If you want to talk about real quick, Ben, about the actual software and the improvements of the infrastructure of the site that's happened.
Well, as you guys know, we've changed forum software. We were on vBulletin board, and now we're on Zenforo, which seems to have quite a bit of developers working on it. It seems quite stable as itself, but I believe the active development on it is still ongoing. Where I think vBulletin had become pretty stale over the last, I don't know, really about 5 years now. And we're on a host with we're keeping good backups, which I know Tim at least had pretty good backups, and then obviously everything else that's out there, it's a whole package deal, but it's working out pretty well so far.
Well, it's good to hear that we've kind of gone up and improved everything. Mark, we kind of skipped over you when we were going to talk about kind of how Stormtrack went from there to here, and maybe the reason why either you weren't active or whatever. So kind of talk about your history with Stormtrack and why you wanted to change everything and why you wanted to be part of this.
Well, I guess I was there the whole time being a moderator, so when the future thread popped up, that was something, that we would see every year, and kind of the same suggestions would come along each year, but then, I knew Steve was interested in taking over Stormtrack, so it was good how it all came together, because we're in the position we're in now with the new forum that's working pretty good. So that's what we wanted to accomplish.
Yep, and that we did quite a big turnaround from where it used to be, like I said earlier. Mark, real quick, we'll talk to you again. Why don't you tell some of these people some of the rules they really need to abide by on the site to be able to stay?
Did you ask me, Marcus?
Yeah.
Oh, well, basically we've outlined the rules. For the long time, guys don't take that as we're trying to crack down on you. We're trying to appeal to a wider audience, so we're writing the rules for new people that join as well as those that have been there for a while. So you can find those under the help screen down in the bottom. far right in the footer information, or you can go to the FAQ up top. There's a few sections that talk about how to stay out of trouble, and then the official rules. But it's just the basic stuff, like, treat people with respect, have intelligent conversation with people. Don't try to be a jerk is kind of the long and short of it. I don't know how to say it any other way, but I think we put the rules together by kind of going out and looking at what we thought was industry best practices and drew from that and then customized it to what you see today on Stormtrack. Use common sense. That's what it's all about. We're here to be supportive of newer members, and we have to be careful with how we treat those guys, because they're, when we move on and we may not be as active 10 years from now, those are the guys that'll be still behind, and so we gotta treat them well.
Yes, we got to treat the noobs like very delicate flowers, so they can bloom into a big, a big bouquet of something awesome, I guess.
We were all noobs at one time.
Yes, and see, that's the thing, guys. I mean, if you're new to the site, if you're new to chasing, you're gonna get pegged every now and then on the head, because we've all been there, and all we're trying to do is to shape you into, a respectable chaser. That doesn't mean we're going to tell you exactly how to chase, but we've had several members come into the site and throw down these wicked ideas of how their future is going to be or what they're going to build and blah blah blah, and it just makes you sound like you're going to be this irresponsible chaser that's out there just to kind of give off that get out of my way, I'm coming through attitude, and you can't do that, because that's how you lose respect in this hobby pretty quick. And the thing about it is respect gets you a long way in this hobby. If you're well respected, you get a lot more helping hands, I guess you could say, in the hobby. So
I want to point out something here. If you'll go to my screen, I'm going to go to a screenshot.
I think you got to share your screen. There you go.
Yeah, I'm on it. Come on, Ben. All right. Hey, in the FAQ, I want everybody to feel free to ask a question. Go down here to help. Get rid of this silly thing. Ben, why don't you fix that?
Get on that, Ben, right now.
Ben and Dan, come on, you guys.
Come on.
Whip is cracked. Anyway, you can ask a question. Just ask us. Hit ask question, and then one of us will answer, and it will become part of the FAQ, which is kind of cool. Anyway, I wanted to point out a neat little deal here. Hothead topics. There we are. Ah, crap. I guess I need to put that into a...
I saw it there last night. Did you move it?
Come on, Ben.
I must have moved it.
Yeah, it was there last night. I promise you, I saw it.
Well, son of a gun, I don't know what happened to it. But anyway, it was basically it was derived from a...
Shared right now.
Okay, go ahead and move over to Ben then.
Yeah, it's basically all these topics, light bars, driving, media, social media, all sorts of stuff. It's pretty well outlined. I guess Dan wrote that, and yeah, I like how it says, this isn't to discourage the discussion of these topics, it's just to prepare the poster for some of the
Stormtrack real quick.
Oh, yeah. Do we really need to talk about that? Don't you have that covered?
Yeah, down at... well, I'd like to still break even somehow. Down at the bottom right-hand corner of every page, there is a link to support Stormtrack and also a link to advertise. I will not go into detail here, but feel free to click on a minute while you guys talk. But these banner ads are pretty killer. They're doing a really nice job. So I'll show you that here in a minute. You guys go ahead.
Well, I can. I was gonna. Let me get over to Steve. There's Steve.
Hi. Okay. Anyway, you can go up to your name and click My Ads. If you don't have any ads, you'll be asked if you want to create an ad. If you have an ad, if you've created impressions in, well, his ad was actually up during our dev process, so these are more accurate. 33,956 on the strike ad. Those are impressions, and the top impressions whenever Stormtrack was in its earlier days around 2009 were 77,000 a month. So as you can see, we're really going crazy right now. We're doing a lot of really good numbers. In fact, we had 10,000 uniques this week. So pretty thrilled about that. But anyway, click ratio is pretty decent. You can see that again, the Euroweather has gotten the most clicks, and Kendra's in a not too far off second place. So anyway, that's advertising, and if you have any trouble with it, let me know. We even have Dan who's willing to build a banner for you for $100. So if you have a DVD you want to sell, then by all means get with Dan if you don't know how to create a banner, and he'll do it for you. And here's pricing information. Again, that's in the advertising area in the bottom right-hand corner. But throw an ad up for 30 days, see how it does.
Pretty
That's
good
all
idea.
I want to show. Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, I noticed something we didn't even actually touch on that probably a lot of people have.
Link there? I'm still sharing my screen, I believe, aren't I?
Yeah.
Okay. This will list all the hashtags and the related posts that have to do with it. Now, because I hit the word hashtag at the bottom, then we're actually looking for things that have the word hashtag in them, I do believe. Oh, no, excuse me, that's trending hashtags. Probably need to change that. Anyway, hashtags works just like Twitter. If you see a hashtag says hashtag tornado in a thread, you click on that hashtag and it'll bring up everything else that has the word tornado in it that's been hashed. You can create your own hashtags within the forum. We like to use the common weather hashtags like OKWX for Oklahoma, but you might come up with some of your own, and those will end up being part of the hashtag system and something that you can search. Maybe it's just material that you care about yourself, and that's it. But you can go back and search things via your special hashtag. You can also do the @ sign like you do on Twitter, and do. Here, let me see if I can run over there here real quick. We'll post a new thread. And I want Ben. I'm sure you guys have seen this, but it's just like on Twitter. You can say, "Hey Ben, sup?" Post it, and then Ben's gonna get an email that says, "Hey, you were just mentioned in a thread." So you guys make sure you use that, because it's a really neat way to catalog content and a neat way to ensure that the person that you want to target sees your message. So
Probably another thing that to go along with the hashtag and all that stuff. Another cool thing that's kind of different feature, which I guess formerly you could have called it private messaging, but the conversation feature actually lets you bring in as many, well, not as many, but you can bring in a large number of people into a conversation to talk about. So for all you chasers out there that have your own little groups, private groups or whatever, you can have a conversation with just those people if you wanted to. I'll do mine, I guess, real quick, since just to kind of show you guys, if I go right here to this little mail card, I can go to the like this is the conversation we had about the podcast today, and there's quite a few responses about us being on the show tonight. So that's kind of a good feature too, where you can bring in a group of friends or a group of people and talk about setups that are coming up or plans for the next week or whatever. So that's kind of a cool thing too. Is there any features we have not touched on yet?
I think the social media. Jerry, have we touched on that?
I guess we haven't touched on that. The social media.
Yeah, social media integration. That was a big thing that the old form didn't have. This one does.
Yeah. Does Steve or Ben, do you want to talk about that?
Go for it, Steve.
Well, let me look here. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to decide if I want to share my screen or not. But you guys, this is something that was sorely needed in the old forum, and I'm hoping that this is one of the things that brings back a lot of the users that have left Stormtrack. Just the ones who kind of were into the idea that social media is the new way to go, and that we're gonna and that forums are dead, blah blah blah. Now we're realizing that Facebook isn't showing everybody everything that you want them to see. Twitter's going the same direction, and I want to tread lightly here because obviously we want our content to hit social so that other people can learn about us and we can be the platform that everybody goes to when they think storms. But I want to go back to the fact that your content is extremely safe here on Stormtrack, and I think that it's a good place for content to originate. So your storm reports, your photos, just basic conversation that you have in these forums are all something that can be shared and of use to people in your social groups. So consider making us your first stop whenever you're doing your chase reports or your target discussion for the next day. So I hope that made sense what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about people, really stealing any information or whatever. You can talk about it here, and it'll go right into your Facebook page. Now, how does that work exactly? Like to actually integrate it, is it just linking it, or how does that work?
You can share. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, well, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Is how to share it between here and there. I mean,
there's a couple different ways to do it. On every page, there's a little you'll see a little selector switch at the bottom. The reason it's done is you turn on. It's like a two-step process, so you don't accidentally share something. It gives you like a two-step sequence to share to Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and then on the side, the new thing that we've just introduced today that we're actually trying to debug how it's sitting on the page is you've got a share bar on the left-hand side where you can share whatever page you're on.
Don't start.
So. Yeah, that's basically how that works.
yeah, okay.
And we're working to make this little. If you're looking at my screen right now, this little number over here on the side, we're working to make that where it's not as intrusive. We added it last night, and we find that it's covering up some text and kind of looks clunky right now. But we're working on either resizing those buttons or moving the borders in a little bit so that they don't. So they aren't as invasive.
Yeah, but the thing about those is that whatever page you're on, you just click them and it shares it. So you don't have to worry about finding the link and everything like that.
Okay. So that's about it. That's pretty much what I was getting at, is trying to make it a lot easier, I suppose. And all you have to do is just click on one of the buttons, whatever you want to share it to, and off you go. So cool.
Yeah, it'll self-populate your Facebook post, or if you're doing LinkedIn, it'll self-populate those with the link, and then it'll grab a picture from the page.
All right. Well, cool. So to people that, like you said, if you want to start off here, make your post, and then share it on Facebook, and then everyone can see it. So, or everyone in your group. But that's good. I mean, that was kind of the big thing on the old site there towards the end, is what we were talking about, was integrating social media into Stormtrack, and I suppose that's the best way to do it right there. So,
Yeah.
all right.
One
Go
more
ahead.
feature I want to talk about here before we get out of here. Well, two more things actually. One, we're working on integrating a radar with the site. running into a few hurdles here, but working on it. Hopefully that'll show up sometime this week. And a more longer scale project that I'm trying to work on right now is back in the day, apparently we had a chaser target game kind of. People would go in and pick their target for the next day, and closest would win. And I'm trying to do maybe a little bit better version of that, if you will. More of like a digital version where you go and click on a map where you're targeting for the next day, and won't show anybody else your target for the next day. But after the contest period is the enter period is over, it shows everybody's targets basically, and kind of have that as a contest on the bigger days, or something along those lines. So we'll be working on that. Not sure we'll have it ready for the beginning of storm season, which, if you believe Facebook, that was today. But we definitely are working on it.
Now, I know Rob Herks, I believe, was working on a similar thing before we actually made the switch to the site, and I don't know if he's actually being a part of this.
I haven't talked to Rob, and I didn't know he was working on something like that, but I may touch base with him and see if that's something he'd be interested in.
Yeah, he was. I remember we were talking about that before we made the switch. I think probably in November, December, and he said he was going to work on it. I don't know the status of it. I don't know if he just gave up on it or if he's still working on it. I haven't seen Rob on the site in a while, so I don't know.
Where's he, Marcus?
I have no idea. I haven't seen him probably since we made the switch. I guess maybe a little before that he kind of just stopped posting, and then I don't know. I don't know what happened. So we need to get Rob back because Rob's he was pretty informative, had a lot of good stuff. But yeah, he mentioned it, or he talked about it. We kind of came up with the idea late last year about a storm chasing game, and I think his was going to integrate Google Maps somehow, but I'm not sure how the status on that is going to be. But that's cool, an actual storm chase game. I mean, is there going to be some incentive to play? Is there going to be points involved at the end of it? Is there going to be maybe some prizes for anyone at the end of the year?
Well, that's for what we're trying to come up with. How do you determine who wins each day, and is it first tornado report? Is it most intense tornado? There's some things we need to work out, and if people have ideas, that'd be great to help with. But yeah, definitely is something we would like to do.
Well, Ben, I urge you to probably visit the chat because I'm sure those guys in chat have plenty of ideas on how that's going to work. But I know we've been talking about that in chat, like I said, since last year. So that's really cool, though. I've kind of wanted that. I remember we had that targeting game. I don't remember what year it was, probably like 10 or 11. I think Danny Neal and maybe Skip was the ones that kind of ran that and did that. But this, hopefully, I guess the game you're talking about now is going to be a real-time thing for you to do real-time. And is that right?
Well, we're thinking mostly the night before, have a cutoff. Sometime after the models come out, but before the first SBC Day 1 comes out. And, kind of, so people have to have a little bit of skill and just kind of have a fun, friendly competition. Like I said, we still need to come up with prizes, if any, and scoring, if any. So.
All right. Well, sounds good. I'll definitely be looking forward to that when that comes around. All right, guys. Have we covered everything? I know I'm going to ask this a lot, but I want to make sure that everybody has all the information they need and all the little features we got on the site.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good as well. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up then. And before we let everybody go, and before we get off the show, we're gonna do our tornado predicting game that we have on the show. I was thinking about doing not only just a trophy, but maybe the winner will get a gas card or some sort. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so if you haven't watched the show, if this is your first show, we've been going throughout the year asking all of our guests for their accurate scientific predictions of how many tornadoes we'll have at the end of the year. So I believe we, Dan, I don't think I wrote yours down. I remember you gave it, and then I think I forgot to write it down, so I have to get yours again.
Yeah, I can't remember. I was using the Price is Right strategy of waiting till everybody else gave theirs and then doing one more or one less.
Yeah, $1, Bob, right? I guess real quick, I guess we'll start with you since I got you here. What's your number for tornado counts this year?
My number? Oh, I don't know. Let's go with 1,200.
Let me see. Is 1,200 taken? It is not taken, so you get 1,200. All right. Well, Steve, how about you? What do you think the tornado count for the year will be?
Okay, well, since you had mentioned on your first show and each show after that you were looking for the most scientific way to determine this, I have given for you guys. Here, hold on, let me get over here.
Need the graphic.
There we go. Okay, I did a survey right at the end of last year. I'm assuming you have me pulled up there, right?
Yeah.
I did a survey that went on to Chaser TV, my own social, some Weather Decision Technology social. And anyway, I have arrived at my number thanks to everybody else and their thoughts. So my number is going to be right here, 1099.
All right, that number is available, so we'll give that one to you. And hopefully your fans. All right, now if you win, I'm not giving a gas card to each one of your fans that voted on that, but.
Well, I at least get points for effort here.
Yeah, you'll at least get a trophy of some sort, and you can show your fans in that. So, all right. How about you, Mark? What do you think the tornado count for the end of 2015 will be?
Well, I saw that a while back, and I looked at there was some sort of graphic from the SPC on tornado climatology. I was thinking somewhere like 150 less than in 2010. I don't remember what that was. Maybe like 1,050 or I forget.
2010 was 1525 in 2010.
So I'm gonna probably go with like maybe a few more, 1,175.
All right, 1175 for Mark. We'll see. Hopefully that works out for you. How about you, Ben? What's your super accurate kitty prediction here?
He behaved himself all throughout the show, but he decided that he needed to come up here. Well, I was actually going to go with 1176 before Mark chose 1175, so I'm going to go with something different, and I'm going to do 1237. 1237.
All right, I think Skip's the only one close to you. He's at 1250. So.
Yeah, Marcus, I meant to ask you, what am I sitting at right now?
James, you're the high. You shot the highest. You shot for 1,400 for this year.
Hell yeah, that's right. All right, just making sure.
Which is, I'm surprised. Oh no, wait. Yeah, you did. You're the only one that shot that. We only had one guest below 1,000. That was Ashley a couple weeks ago. She said 999. So everyone's still shooting for higher than 2014, which I guess is a good thing. All right, guys. Well, now that we've gotten to this point, I'm going to let you guys kind of pimp out your social media, your websites, whatever. That way, everyone can go follow you and see what you're all about. So we'll start with you. We'll start with you, Dan. Where can everyone? I know you've been on the show before, but where can everyone find you and follow you and whatnot?
Well, stormhighway.com is my website, and I have Facebook and Twitter pages that I try to keep up with, but most everything is on stormhighway.com. Go there, you can get there.
All right, sounds good. Stormhighway.com for Dan. Mark, do you have your own website or Twitter or
No,
anything?
I kind of fly under the radar, Marcus. I don't have my own website, but I have Photo Bucket and YouTube. Those are under Erie Green Skies, and then just Mark Blue on Facebook, and that's primarily, I guess, where I am.
Yeah, or Stormtrack. We can find you on Stormtrack.
Yeah, I live there these days.
All right. Ben, how about you? Pimp yourself out.
Well, since I just bought a brand new domain yesterday, I'm going to use that. okchaser.com.
okchaser.com. Man, that's
A good one.
yeah. You're kind of getting close to mine, which is fine. But I'm Texas. But anyway. I think you shattered the dreams of a lot of OU chasers of
Yeah,
having
man,
a cool
that was going
domain.
to be my website. I called dibs on that. I want it back.
I'll
Well, I'm
sell
sure-
it to you for $10,000.
I'll take
I
it.
was gonna say I'm sure Ben will sell it to you for the right price. All right, Steve. How about you? Where can everyone find you?
I'll tell you what, you better be able to find me on Stormtrack. Otherwise, we're all in trouble, right?
Who are you again? I mean, I don't know the importance or anything.
Hey, I want to take just a second here and thank a few people since we're talking about websites and Stormtrack since it's technically mine now. Jesse Risley wasn't able to join us tonight. Patrick Marsh and Jeff Snyder. All three of those have been pivotal during the transition period. We have really done just a ton of work, and since they weren't able to be here, I wanted to thank them, and of course those guys that you see on your panel right now. Also, Danny Neal and Jason Boggs have been a tremendous help with the Weather Library, so big shout out to them. Anyway, that's all I've got.
All right. Cool. Well, there it is. We completed episode 8 of the show. That's right, episode 8. That's quite a feat for us. Next week we'll kind of go back to our chasing topics and probably dreading the forecast for the next at least week or so.
It's looking brutal.
Don't jinx it now, James. All right. So, but all right. Well, I'd like to thank everyone on the show tonight. I'd like to thank Mark, Dan, Steve, Ben. Glad you guys can make it tonight. I guess I'd like to thank all of our fans that keep watching and put up with this crap every week. So, we hope you guys enjoy Stormtrack, and we hope you guys utilize it and spread the news, because this is a big thing that we're starting this year, and hopefully by this time next year we're going to be pretty much cream of the crop, and I hope that's where we're at. So, I hope everyone joins us in chat every night. We're always having great conversation in chat about different things. So, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you guys next week.
Ciao.
Adios.